There we go. Haha, my microphone is now working. I have some new keyboard sounds I made on this keyboard I'm going to be playing with. This one, the one I usually use is this one. It's nice, it works, but I have some other ones. I have this one, which I'm probably going to use a lot more from now on. Also got this one, which is a mix between. This is an odd one. This is not an electric piano. This is a very odd one. It's a mix between an organ and like a house piano, like a heavy. Oh, you'll hear it. It's a very, if you do it really quietly, it's an organ. And if you do it heavy, it's a piano. I think they combine really well because the that kind of bright piano by itself really lacks body. It doesn't really have a mid section or even a low end. It's just it's very much a lot of harmonics, which is great, and it accentuates the organ really well when you hit the keys really hard. But when you want to play quietly, let me turn off that other voice. This is like that bright piano sound by itself. And when you do it quietly, it still sounds like you're hitting it really loud, just because of how the piano is. It almost reminds me of a harpsichord, which is why I chose an organ. And the organs on this piano have no it doesn't matter how hard you hit the keys, it's always the same volume. So with the organ, which here, you can really hear the organ when I press it quietly. It makes it sound a lot better. So I think they work really well together. But yeah, those are only two I have made so far. One of the things I like the most about this new keyboard sound is it has so much range. I actually kind of cranked the volume on my keyboard speakers because they can get really quiet. Well, well, the compressor I have on the stream makes it loud, but in person, if I'm ever playing in person, it has a lot of range and it sounds really good. And one of the instruments I have layered in here has a lot of like chorusy noises, and it has most of the range. It's almost silent near the bottom end, but it's really loud near the range. I forget if it's the primary or secondary one. Let me see. Yeah, it's the primary one. So this one's really quiet when you play it quietly. But when you play it loud, yeah, it gets very loud. And then the second one I have is more neutral. So what ends up happening is when I'm playing quietly, let me turn it back on. When I play it quietly, it's the secondary instrument that is louder when you play it quietly. It gets heard more, which has less of that chorusy effect. That's what you end up hearing there. But then when I play it quietly, it has that other instrument plays through louder. Very, very unique sounding. The instrument I have that I've played for a long time, this one, it also has quite a lot of range. It has that one's kind of exaggerated. It has a more natural, like, natural dynamic range, where if I play it quietly, it plays it kind of quietly. If I play it loudly, it plays it not super loudly, but still like has a lot of less volume range and more just like in the timbre of the sound. It has a better voice. Which means at equal volume I like playing with this one because at equal volume you can have more range. So even though that from a sound level, this playing quietly and playing loudly have this around the same volume, you can clearly tell which one of the two is played harder. Whereas this other one I think would work better in real life, where I'm not compressing the heck out of it for YouTube. Regardless, it still has that same quality because of how that other instrument comes in, but it's still a good keyboard noise. That one works around the same way, but it's not as good, I don't think. It's more of an experimental one, kind of like that weird bell pad I made. Nope, that's not it. That's also not it. Where did I put it? There it is. thinking with this one is that the string sampler on this is good, but it's hard to play it. It has a lot of attack, which is fine for a string sampler. Oops, wrong one. This is the string sampler. It's fine for a string sampler if you're just doing, if you need a lot of attack and you're not trying to do anything with like a melody, like trying to play a melody with this string sampler isn't very good because it sounds like you're playing it with like 50 violins and they're all coming in like legato and stuff. It's not I'd need a different string sampler for that. And the ones that are sound like more like a single string instrument for like a melody or something. Or don't sound great. Let me find one. There's this one. I mean, this sounds fine. But it's not, I don't know, it could be better. Which is why I tried making a pad with it. So the thinking is that I'll have that really aggressive, really long attack with the strings. But in that silence I'll have a bell. And I added echoes because duh, it's a bell. Ended up making a very it's a very cool sounding instrument, I think. It works really well, although it still doesn't work for melodies. The bell sound, it works, but I kind of killed it with the reverb and echoes, because now I have the opposite problem where the attack is great, but it has too much release. I can't play like staccato or anything. It goes on for too long. It doesn't work. And that's why when most of my instruments that I really enjoy playing have very little attack and release. You know, they'll stop when I start and stop exactly when I want them to, which makes them a lot more flexible. Which is why I love the pedals so much, because I can extend the release without having to keep my fingers in the keys. The sustain pedal is the keyboardist's ultimate weapon, because it lets me hold notes without having to hold the notes. If you ever see a keyboardist with a pedal, that's most likely what they're doing with it. When I hold the pedal down, I wish I had my keyboard cam set up for this. When I hold the pedal down, like if I'm just playing like this, when I hold the pedal down, it'll hold the notes down even if I just let go immediately. Like right now I'm not holding the notes, it's just doing that. And I use it to great effect when playing chords, because I'm almost always holding the pedal down. I wish I had an always on. Well, I can do that. Well, I'll explain that later. But what I do is when I'm playing a chord, normally when someone's playing a string of chords, even the greatest keyboardist will have a little gap between the chords. As their fingers are moving between the different chords. But if I use the pedal, I can fill in that gap between the chords. which is much better. That's my secret technique. There is my chord gap filler. I think it works really well. But it ends up being that I'm almost always holding the pedal down. I only release it when I'm switching to a new chord. I have to time it really well, or else it won't really fill the gap. Because I don't want the two chords ever overlapping like this. Because there I didn't release the pedal between the two chords, so they're both playing at the same time. I had to release the pedal at the same time as I play the new chord. And then immediately hold the pedal down again, so that it's ready for when I need to switch to the next chord. Because you don't have to have. You can start playing a chord, and then press the pedal down while the chord is being played, and then let go of the keys, and it'll keep playing the chord. It doesn't have to be held down while you play the notes. So I can be playing whatever I want, and then I can hold the pedal down and let go, and it's still playing. Oh right, I need to increase the volume of my microphone because it's too quiet. OBS changed their whole thing. Filter, that's fine. I need to mess with this though. I need my voice to be louder, please. So, the compression is fine. It needs more preamp at least more preamp. I guess I'll just increase the compression ratio in the preamp. That's fine. I don't want it clipping and running into the limiter, so I'm not gonna even. The limiter's just a safety limiter. But there, that should be louder. I also need to make sure my side chaining is working correctly. I have it off. Side chaining is off. I think it's let's see if this is working. Oh yeah, it's working. When I speak, I think the rest of it's getting quieter. Yeah, it's working. It's kind of working. I don't know. It could be better. For the monitor of it, so that's audio input. Yeah, audio input's the right source. I don't know. The side chaining isn't doing much. I wish I had a better way to do side chaining here. It's an OBS. The compressor is not really ideal for this. That's basically my setup and my new keyboard noises. I need to have a better way to know when my mic is on. My mic has a red light on it when it's plugged in, but it doesn't tell me whether it's. I need a way to have it so that it turns on or off when my mic mutes and unmutes, but I'm sure that's something done electronically in the microphone that'd be hard to hook into with OBS. I get like a second light to tell me when my mic is on, and I need a button that's closer. I have it on my keypad plus key that's right next to my mouse on the right side of my keyboard to mute and unmute my mic. But I need something on my keyboard almost, so that I can just press it while I'm on my keyboard. I don't want to have to touch my mouse and keyboard at all when I'm streaming them with the keyboard. Yeah. I have a very long audio chain here all there is here is just an audio monitor that I can pipe into voice meter if need be, if I need to like play it over a Discord call, play my keyboard over a Discord call or something. But before that, it gets piped through USB audio into my computer, into here, audio input source, and then it goes through Prisma, which I guess I still have enabled. Basically, it's a multi-band. First splits into bands. It's a multi-band effects chain thing. Low. It's kind of I'm using it for kind of pre-mixing for width, and also a sine fold on the low end as a sort of a low. I'm using it as kind of like a low lifter essentially. So low notes will have low frequencies. Will have almost no width to them. It has a slight width increase on the mid-high end, but as it approaches 0 hertz, I'm slowly rolling off the width, as well as increasing the sine fold effect, which will increase the harmonics in a way for a higher note. So it sounds nice. Makes you sound a bit fuller. It also works better when you have a single subwoofer. It's kind of pre-mixing for that. And then a reverb simulation from who was it? Sennheiser? Yeah. I need to update this probably. It's probably a newer version available. I haven't updated my plugins in a long time. And then EQ for the piano. Just because this is just the way this keyboard sounds. I need to EQ for it. EQ. I don't remember. This EQ shouldn't be necessary. I don't know. I don't remember what I have this EQ for real. Like, I don't. Let me put my earbuds on. I have my audio output in Windows set to my earbuds, so that I don't actually have to hear my audio twice. But I can monitor my audio if I want to by just putting in my earbuds. I'm just accounting for some of the, both to scoop the mids for just most devices will have a bump in the mids just because most devices are not tuned well. Oops, I just closed FL Studio. What was I saying? Oh, dang it. I have to load this project again. Scoop the mids because always scoop the mids. And then bump in the treble for two reasons. One, most of the keyboard samples in this keyboard aren't actually that, don't actually have a lot of high frequency content, like really high frequency content. And then also, oh right, and I'm also using a filter, because I guess the parametric EQ is just a sample or a sequence of filters. But, yep, bumping the treble because keyboard doesn't have a lot of treble content on most of their samples. Also, DRVR Pro 2, a lot of their, where is it? This guy kills the high frequency content in a lot of ways. For some reason. Lens, this is a multi-band compressor, similar to what I'm using on my mic to make it not sound like ass. Yeah, all that's fine. I had to recently redo it because it updated and lost all my settings. And then emphasis, this is a mastering limiter just to maximize the volume for YouTube. That's a mistake I made on a lot of my previous. How do I go to my channel? Here. On a lot of my previous songs, everything. This one is everything before this, except for this one was actually mastered pretty well. This slide note study to an extent, even this and this, they weren't mastered very well. They all ended up being kind of really quiet, but especially Colony ended up being really quiet, because I was afraid of having it. I had never done mastering before, because before FL Studio, I used GarageBand, which is not really. It tries to do all the mastering in the background. It does a pretty good job of it. But because of that, I had no experience mastering. So I essentially had to learn how to maximize the volume of a track without killing its dynamic range or anything, or making other compromises, or having it clipping. This basically will raise the volume 12 decibels, which is what I ended up finding is kind of the sweet spot without having it clipping too much. And it does some other things to try and maximize the volume. It's mostly just a limiter, though. But now you can see the actual dynamic range of this new keyboard sound. If I play it quietly, you can see it's actually pretty quiet. Although this is after the compressor, so this isn't really. Let me move this up. So quiet doesn't need to appear on the scale. But then when I really hit it, hits the limiter. This red line is gain reduction. That means it would have clipped, but it reduced the gain so it wouldn't clip. I don't know what the orange line is. That'll be interesting to see. I don't know what that means. Does it have any? I guess I can explain what a multiband compressor is. A compressor is basically the louder a sound is, the more it decreases the volume. It's very simple. And you can see, let me get an actual just compressor here. Like dynamics. Fruity compressor. That one has no visualizer. I want a visualizer like yeah, I think Maximus has one. Yeah. Well, it's disabled, so yeah, here's a good way to visualize it. Basically, this is the input sound level. As you can see when I play, you'll see as this volume meter will go up. But what a compressor does is, as the volume goes up, it decreases the volume as the volume goes up, which basically makes loud sounds quieter and quiet sounds in comparison louder. It doesn't actually make quiet sounds louder. It's just in comparison to loud sounds, they are louder. So you can actually just increase the volume so that quiet sounds are louder. It's called the preamp, although it doesn't really do it like this. It does it where the whole thing goes up. Preamp. No, that's not going to show anything useful. But yeah, that's what a compressor does. Multiband compressor, which this is technically one. I just showed you one band of it. Multiband compressor does that same thing. It's a compressor, but it does it for different bands of the sound separately. So you can see these little lines. Each one of these lines is a I can make it. There's fewer bands. Each one of those lines is a band it's using, and it's compressing each of these separately. So it's using filters to split the sound into a bazillion different bands. I don't know how many. I don't know if there's a count. It does not say. But for each of these bands, it applies a compressor. So if the amount of sound in one of these bands is too loud, it'll, instead of decreasing the volume of the entire track, it'll decrease the volume of that band, which makes it better for maximizing your. It makes it better for It makes it a better compressor because you're not just sacrificing volume in terms of dynamics. A single loud sine wave can't decrease the volume of your entire track. It'll just decrease the volume of that sine wave. Kind of think about it like that. What you lose is kind of dynamics in terms of having a higher frequency, lower frequency. If you had a super extreme multiband compressor that leveled out each of these so that it would be a flat line, it would be white noise. You would be hearing white noise. So it gets closer to being white noise, but you are increasing your audible sound level while decreasing your actual sound level. So it's a compromise, but it's better to make multiple small compromises, where this compromises in true dynamics. This compromises in this is actually kind of like a compressor in some ways, which is why it has a little. That's kind of hard to explain. This compromises true dynamics in some ways. This compromises it compromises like frequency content and makes it less unique, I guess is one way to say it. I wonder if there's a way to demonstrate this by making let me add a second one actually, and I'll make kind of an extreme example. Lens, give me a second one, and then here do a couple things. Attack and release is fine. Don't link the bands together. Stereo link, don't do that either. And then I'm going to make it a very extreme compressor. So basically, once the sound reaches this volume, negative 34 decibels, it will decrease it so that it will not ever get any louder than that. But I'm also going to increase the preamp so that this isn't super quiet. And you'll now hear... well, actually, it's not on. You can hear now that it doesn't really sound right. It's sounding more like white noise. I can make the man, that's an extreme compressor. Thankfully, you can change the EQ of it so that it's less, it can more closely follow a shape you'd like. Although that's a bit too much there. Probably turn off my microphone because you're hearing it through the mic too. But yeah, that's a multi-band compressor. Did I just delete the right one? Yes, I did. That's essentially what this does. I can turn it off and it'll be... I don't know if it's really quieter, but it certainly has a less... It's not modifying that frequency content as much. It'll sound better if you turn up your volume with this off. Much of a loss in dynamic range. You're introducing a loss in the variability of your frequency content. But I'm having a small loss in the variability of my frequency content, and then a small loss in my dynamic range instead of a large loss in either one. Which is why I have two different filters, which are both having a similar effect to maximize the volume. It's really important, especially on YouTube, to maximize the volume of your mixes, because YouTube will, even if you have a mix at like line level where it's going up to 0 decibels, YouTube will decrease it based on its like perceived volume. I think it's using like LUFS or something for the actual volume calculation. But that's why if you're on YouTube Music, if some songs randomly sound quieter than others, it's because they're uploaded to YouTube instead of YouTube Music, because YouTube processes them differently. If I go to in fact, you can see it by the shape of the thumbnail as well. Songs, I think an Other had some songs that are like this, because it's a 16:9 thumbnail. This one's uploaded to YouTube, and this one will be quieter than the rest of them. So will this one. This one. Those are all quieter than the others because they're using YouTube's processing, and because this live stream is on YouTube, it also suffers from that volume loss. I think it's a bit, in my opinion, it's a bit extreme. I think YouTube doesn't mix their videos as well as they could, but I need to compensate for that. If I don't mix it well up to line level before I send it over to YouTube, then in comparison to everything else on YouTube, my stream will be quiet. So that is the trade-off I'm making. I'm kind of torn on to whether I should release songs on YouTube closer to line level and just make people crank their volume, or if I should release them kind of like I did with my latest song. My latest 2 songs were well mastered. That Elephant Green Screen Effect and what was the other one? Oh yeah, Unreachable. It's the one with the thumbnail. Yeah, Unreachable. Both of these were well mastered. So they're not super quiet on YouTube at least. But if you, yeah, I'm kind of torn. I don't know if I should make people crank their volume for that video or lose out on dynamic range and frequency content slightly. I think and I'm probably just gonna keep doing it the way I am here because I got a pretty good audio stack here. It doesn't end up being actually that bad. At the end of the day, when I go back and listen to my streams, they still sound good, despite them being kind of maximized for loudness. So I think I want to keep it the way I've been doing it, and not really worry too much. I'm not gonna go any more extreme for this in terms of loudness maximization. This is probably where I'm going to stay. I may decrease the aggressiveness of some of the stuff here, but yeah, that's my audio stack.